Hello kiddies and welcome to episode 150 of TechSpert Weekly. That seems like some sort of achievement or milestone that should be acknowledged and celebrated in some kind of way. Yeah, that'll do. Anyway, sorry for the lack of spurting last week, kiddies. Your Uncle Spurt was actually at a wedding, indulging in his favourite hobby of rinsing a free bar. And actually wearing a suit as well for the first time this side of Y2K. And perhaps unsurprisingly, when I posted this photo up on Twitter, I had lots of concerned people wishing me good luck and praying that the judge goes easy on me. Anyway, I'm at the arse end of a 3-day hangover, I'm in a proper grumpy mood, so let's just crack on. Jingle me. TechSpert Weekly! So lately, I've had legions of adoring fans messaging me to say, hello you balding bastard, when is that Google Pixel 7a coming out, and should I wait for it, or just grab a Pixel 7 now? Well, there's been an awful lot of hot Pixel 7a chat chucked about with gay abandon on that there internet lately, so here's a roundup of all of the bits that are least likely to be total bollocks. Now first, it's possible that Google will launch this wallet-friendly Pixel phone at I/O 2023, the big developer conference for smarty pants nerdy folk that kicks off on May the 10th. Otherwise, it should be officially waggled about in public shortly afterwards, with a global release in June or July. Sorry, I lost my train of chocolate. Price-wise, this phone should be similar to the Pixel 6a from last year, so expect the 7a to start from around 399 British quids, making it strong competition for the Samsung Galaxy A54, the Nothing phone, and Apple's iPhone SE. Sorry, involuntary reaction. One of the reasons the 7a will be cheaper than the regular Pixel 7 is the design. It may basically look the same, but it's a placky phone rather than glass. Some rumours actually reckon the Pixel 7a would be made of ceramic, which is tougher than glass and only found on expensive blowers. So frankly, those so-called leaks are about as trustworthy as a sinister-looking clown driving an unmarked white van and wearing a homemade Free Rolf Harris t-shirt. Seriously, if it actually comes in ceramic, I, Uncle Spurt, will drink nothing but tap water for an entire week. That's how confident I am that it's utter bum gravy. And this is going out on the internet, there's no backing down, so don't let me down, Google, whatever you do. The Pixel 7a should be IP67 water and dust resistant just like the 6a, and you can expect 3 colour choices, grey, white and a rather fetching blue that can definitely get right in my pants. Lush. For the inside bits, well, it sounds like the Pixel 7a will be remarkably similar to the flagship Pixel 7. Performance should be provided by the Tensor G2, which can run a little hot under pressure, but copes well with demanding apps and games. And hallelujah, it sounds like Google has finally done the right thing and slapped a 90Hz OLED screen on this year's budget blower, after making do with 60Hz panels for previous generations. And this is said to be a 6.1 incher like last year's model, so the Pixel 7a will be one of the more compact, hand-friendly mobiles of 2023, despite those thick bezels. Thick with about 5 Cs. And the camera tech also sounds like it's been lifted wholesale from the Pixel 7 with a 50 meg Octa-PD quad-bay sensor slapped on the arse end of the Pixel 7a and accompanied by an ultra-wide angle shooter. So as always, Google should absolutely rule the mid-range bracket when it comes to snapping slick-looking pics at any time of day. Although some rivals like the OnePlus Nord CE3 Lite with its beefy 108meg camera are crawling pretty bloody close these days. And the battery size should be at least 4,400 mAh again, although hopefully Google has bumped up the capacity a wee bit, just a bit of extra staying power there. And some rumours also point to wireless charging support, a feature occasionally found on mid-range phones like the Nothing phone again and Apple's iPhone. Sorry, I really badly need to go to the toilet. But you really do have to wonder if there's any truth to the wireless charging shenanigans. Because if all of these leaks turn out to be gospel and not a steaming heap of James Corden, then it seems like the Pixel 7a will be almost identical to the Pixel 7 in every way apart from the design. After all, you should once again get a very similar stock Android experience with the years of guaranteed updates and those lovely Pixel exclusive features. And if that is the case, well, it's no wonder that Google has knocked down the price of the Pixel 7 to under 500 quid, because it's going to be practically redundant soon unless you really want that premium glass finish. So basically, if you're not completely minted and you're willing to hang on just a wee bit longer, then yeah, the Pixel 7a sounds like it should be a good alternative to the Pixel 7. Otherwise, if money ain't a thing, or you're just incredibly impatient, well, yeah, just snaffle up the Pixel 7 and its new discounted price. Anyway, that's enough banging on about the Pixel 7a. Has there been any big hot tech news this week? I'm gonna assume no. Which means it's time for the part of the show which some might describe as blatant filler if the rest of the show wasn't even worse. It's fewer comments. Fewer comments. Alright, let's start this week with Jason. You eat Jason, who says, away next week for personal reasons is Uncle Spurt code for may have found a potential liver and kidney donor. Correct, sir. That is me all set for another 6 months of chronic alcohol abuse. God bless medicinal science. Bugs says that Samsung Museum looks delightful, and also I gotta try me some of that. Referring to the Macchioli, or Macchioli, however you pronounce it, I'm assuming. You can actually make it at home if you've got the right ingredients, because it's basically just yeast and rice, and then mix it together into a big moist ball and squeeze away. Which feels so wrong, and yet simultaneously so perfectly right. It is quite the mindfuck. Adam Clarkson says, Uncle Spurt, mad we ate on Korean milk, superb. And John Trimmer says, the first YouTube video I've seen with the presenter sat there drinking a jar of spunk. I mean, here at TechSpurt, we like to be a channel of firsts. I guess your Uncle Spurt is a pioneer of sorts. I mean, would you catch MKBHD glugging from a jar of jizz during one of his informative video podcasts? Would you piss? Not gonna lie though, that drink was a wee bit spunkish. I think I'm probably just going to stick to the special brew in future. Next up, MaxBlue1901 has pointed out that I went to Samsung HQ while wearing a Huawei watch. And not even a subtle one, it's the Huawei Watch Ultimate, so it's the size of a friggin' asteroid. And of course I got called out on it immediately. Day one, met an exec in the morning just after breakfast, and his first words out of his mouth were, is that a Huawei watch? Frankly, I thought they were going to fire me out of a massive cannon straight into North Korea. Thankfully it was all good, we all had a jolly good laugh about it all, but I do have to be really careful when I'm wearing this thing because it is an absolute unit. Sometimes I'll go to scratch my earlobe and almost knock my f***ing teeth out. Dr. Poo Poo Head, fantastic name. Are you actually a qualified doctor? Says, day by day, TechSpurt is becoming the Simon Whistler of mobile phones. Don't actually know who that is. Let me just check the Googles. It's another bald YouTube dude. Should have expected that really. You know what, that's just got me thinking. It's been a wee while since we did that excellent show segment, Which Crap Celebrity Do I Look Like This Week? So certainly feel free to chuck your suggestions down below and we'll see if we can resurrect that bad boy next week. I mean, come on, surely we can't have run out of follically challenged, crinkly-faced Z-listers already. Lady Emma says, looking forward to the A54 review as I have the A52s. It's been a fantastic phone. Looking forward to my upgrade in August. Yeah, got my SIM slapped inside of the Galaxy A54 right now, and so far, rather liking it. Or at the very least, it hasn't done anything that makes me want to hoy it out of the nearest f***ing window. Full review next week. Ian James Hodges says, still loving my Samsung S10 Plus, mate. Think it was a game changer. I remember vividly banging on about how that 6.4-inch screen was just ridiculously massive and what is the point. In fact, I believe I reviewed the Galaxy S10 Plus not long after I started this channel, back when I was still shooting videos in my front room. Back when I was shooting all my videos on a smartphone and I had no studio lights or anything posh like that. I just had to wait for it to be daylight outside, which here in the UK, you might be waiting an awfully long time. We're talking like weeks. Back when I was still in my 30s and full of energy and vigour and spunk rather than just booze and spunk. James Smart says, I had one of those Nexus phones. I believe it was recommended by you when you were at Rakombu. Yeah, chances are pretty good because I did absolutely adore those Nexus phones, especially the LG Nexus 4, I believe it was. I mean, when that came into Rakombu HQ, instant trouser tent action. It's an absolute stone cold banger, that smartphone. I seem to recall there was a fair bit of fisticuffs over who would actually do the honours of doing the review. We're getting into a proper smartphone nostalgia fest here, because Nakazul says, a proud moment was when I was one of the elite nerds back in the day. I got my hands on the HTC Universal, Bill Gates' personal phone. It was an absolute monster, unrivaled for a long time, and it also cost monster money. Yeah, bloody bet it did. because that was basically like a full-on PC that fit in your pants, right? Absolutely love it. Never got a chance to review it, sadly, back in the day, boo, hiss, etc. Void says, do you like haggis? Yes, very much so. I'm a big fan of haggis, black pudding, all that good northern fare. Puts hairs on your taint, as my old mum used to say. Reuven says, after having the OnePlus Nord CE for a little over a year, it's fine, but lots of bugs started to show up since the Oxygen OS update. Anyway, which phone will give me a better software experience, the Pixel 6a or the OnePlus Nord 2? I mean, I haven't had any issues from the OnePlus Nord 2, but it's been a wee while since I tried that one out, and let's face it, as far as software goes, the Pixel phones are like god tier. You got those great Pixel exclusive features, and just everything is so smooth and lovely and wonderful and rosy and Ethan says, hey Uncle Spurt, will you review the Poco F5? You can bet your bum on it. And he also says, could you please do a roundup of the best fast charging smartphones on the market right now? So basically all of the Chinese blowers then. Well, I do really like the Realme GT3 and the Redmi Note 12 Pro Plus 5G as well, which I recently reviewed right here on TechSpurt. So go check those out. If I remember, I'll bung a link up about here, which of course means I'll completely forget and look like an absolute plank as usual. But hey, that's what the YouTube search bar and your fingers are for. As for my fingers, well, just ask your mum. Sinister wink. Daryl John says, steady on slamming my hometown. Racking my brains, but I honestly can't think of anything in particular that I said about any towns right now. I'm blaming the Macchioli, whatever it's called. They did a proper Born Identity on me. Ever since I finished that, I've been like, who am I? What happens? Oh no, wait, Borough. Comparing Middlesbrough to North Korea. That was it, right? Right at the very start of the video. Apologies, obviously Borough is not like North Korea at all. One of them is a backwards, destitute hovel of a place where everyone's skint and living in perpetual fear. And the other is, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. Next up, Craig Collins says, after using the Oppo Find X5 Pro since its release, I can honestly say that out of all of the great features it has, the fast charge is the one that I treasure the most. It is bloody good, right? Yeah, I've really been making the most of it, reviewing the likes of the Honor Magic 5 Pro, which I recently just did a video on just a couple of days ago. Yeah, I've been getting in the habit of not plugging my phone in every night. Instead, I've just been bunging a cable in it for 15-20 minutes in the morning while I go sit in the shower and have a bit of a cry. And then by the time you get out, it's basically filled up again as well. It's marvellous. And when you are reviewing something that doesn't have fast charge, then yeah, you sort of really feel it. Next up, it's a war great mate, SJSTU, hello sir, who says, Chinese phone companies seem to change their mind from one day to the next. They just aren't worth buying now because there's always the possibility they'll pull software support. I don't stray away from Samsung, Google or Apple, but I would consider nothing as they're British based. Yeah, I mean, can't really argue with that at all. The software side of things is generally where Chinese phones fall down a bit compared with their Western counterparts, although they usually make up for it with kick-ass specs, just ridiculous tech at a really affordable price. I'm just glad that the software support side of things is getting a bit better with Chinese blowers recently, or at least the premium ones, not so much with the more budgety ones. But yeah, definitely think nothing made a wise choice going with a mostly stock version of Android, just with a little bit of their own sort of styling to help set it apart. As much as I poo-pooed the Nothing launcher when it first arrived on Google Play and basically compared it to STDs. And oh bugger, literally got a couple of minutes left, so let's make this the last comment of this week. Dermot says, just finished reading your Twin Towers trilogy, they're pretty good. Why did you give up writing? Because I had a kid, mate. I mean, that was basically the point where I gave up pretty much everything in my life apart from drinking. Obviously, that was the one thing I managed to find extra time for. And also, certainly from a financial standpoint, it's just really not worth it. Amazon only bungs you a teeny weeny little cut of each book that you sell, so you have to shift an awful lot of units to even pay for a round down your local boozer. But hey, now that I'm a YouTube twat with a respectable enough following, maybe I can release a hardback full of all of my best quotes and charge 15 quid a punt for it, just like all the rest of the bell ends on this thing. Anyway, that's all we've got time for this week, so a massive thanks to everyone who commented, not last week on the previous video, 2 weeks ago. Please do smash your comments down into the wee box thingy down below, and we'll try and get through as many of those as possible next week. And speaking of next week,
this is about next week.
And we do have one big launch next week, the Xiaomi 13 Ultra, scheduled to go live on April the 18th at 7 o'clock GMT plus 8, so 11 AM UK time if my math is in complete bollocks. So check out the channel next week for more on that. Lots of other shenanigans coming your way, including my full final frank review of the Galaxy A54 and also hopefully the Huawei Watch Ultimate. So if you haven't done already, if you stumbled across this video and or like, what did I just watch? I kinda liked it, maybe. I'm not really decided. Maybe I'll watch another one. But please do poke, subscribe and ding that notifications bell. And have yourselves a ruddy, wonderful weekend. Cheers everyone, love you!